Scouts Victoria respectfully acknowledges the traditional custodians of the country throughout Victoria where our activities take place today. We pay our respects to elders both past, present and emerging, and continue to recognise and embrace the important continuous history and connection to land and community of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders people.
Hi, I'm Louise Sidor and I am State Leader Program Support Specialist for the Cub Scout section. I'm also the manager of the 35 Victorian Scouts Terrain digital app champions who have been testing out Scouts Terrain since early June this year. Tonight we have our champion of champions with us, Aidan Ritchie Nelson, who is going to introduce you to Scouts Terrain, what its purpose is, how it started and how to navigate through it. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat and we will answer as many as we can at the end of the presentation. Please be aware that Aidan and I are not the writers of Scouts Terrain app. We're here to show you how to use the features that are there so you and your units can make the most of this powerful and intuitive achievement pathways recording system. Over to you, Aidan.
Thanks, Louise. So to start with Terrain, the first step obviously is to log in. So the website for Terrain is terrain.scouts.com.au. And when you log in, it comes up with the screen that you can see now. So you select your branch, which is Victoria, and you put in your membership number. Now, if your membership number is less than 7 digits, you'll need to put zeros in at the start. Your password is in the format of your year. So say it's a month, and then the day. And you need to do it with the dashes as well. So it's the year, the month, then the day with dashes. When you do log in, it will ask you for your email address and also to enter in the password that you are wanting. So when you log in, this is just a demo user, it will ask you for your email address and your password. It will, when you press continue, it will email you a code, which you then enter to verify you've got the email correct for password recovery. Once you log in, you will see a screen like this. This is the leader's base camp. This is where you can find everything that you need to do within Terrain as a leader within a group. The first step when you're within Terrain is to make sure that you have assigned your members to their units and to their patrols. To do this, you click on the Members tab, either here or on the side. When your group loads, you will find a list of all of your members, and you can change the amount that you see here. And it will tell you their registration number, their name, what unit they're in, what section, and you can also reset the passwords. If someone's forgotten their password or their email isn't working for Terrain, you can press reset password and it will give them a temporary password they can use to fix that up themselves. To create a unit in Scouts Terrain, you click on the Units tab at the top, and then you can see here in our test unit, we've already made some units, but you can press Create Unit and you give it a name. So it can be as simple as just saying Scouts, or even number 2 if you've got multiples, or if you've got a section name, you can use that. And then you assign the section that it's for. So this is for the Scouts. And you press Save. And it will tell you that it's been created in the Scouts section. To make a patrol, you go to the Patrols tab and you press Create Patrol in the same way. So this could be the Cookers, and they are in Scouts number 2. You can have, if you do have multiple of the patrol name within your group, that is fine. You just assign them to the correct unit and they'll appear. To assign unit members to a unit, you find the unit you want in the Unit tab and you click on it. You can then press Add Unit Member. When that loads, you then have a drop down that gives you all of the members in your group. This is in alphabetical order by first name. So you go through and you click the people you want, both youth and adults, to be in this section, and they will all appear here. You can also add members that are not within your group. So if you have say a leader from another group that is coming to help out at your group, you can enter the state and the membership number and also add them in so that they can access your youth members in Scouts Terrain to be able to work with the program and see approvals and things like that. Once you've got all the members that you want, you just press add and it puts them in. And now you can see that in Scouts number 2, we have all of these members. You can then assign them to a patrol if you would like, and you can obviously have as many patrols as you make. And then once they're in a patrol, you can also assign them as an adult leader, a unit leader not in a patrol, or as a scout. And it will also come up in a second with patrol leader and APL once they're within a patrol. So you can signify that they have that role. If they are a member of your unit council, you need to also tick this box, leaders and youth members, as this gives them access to more features in programming, and they also get to see the approvals tab for the achievement pathways. That is how you create your units in Terrain. It does take a few minutes the first time, but once you've got your group set up, it's quite easy to add additional members as needed. When you have members moving from one section to another, all you have to do is go into the new section and press add unit member and find them. And then that way, any activities they do with the next section up while they're linking will be counted. And then once they've left the lower section, once they've fully moved up, you go into the lower section and you can just press remove. The next main thing that you need to do for your youth members in Terrain is what's called import data or input data. This is where you mark off in the system where they are up to at the point when you're starting. So it is important that when you do this data input that you have all of the information for that youth member at the time, as it is a one-off process. You do not have to do it today or tomorrow. The data input is recommended at the time when you're going to start using Terrain for your group or your section. To do data import, you go to either the unit tab or the main group tab, and you can see that there's a data input here. And there's also a not required. So if they're a leader, you can press not required, or if they're starting from scratch and they've got nothing, you can also press not required. In data input, it gives you lots of options. So you can go in and you can add when they have done things. So you can go, I want to add introduction to scouting, which is when they get their World Scout badge. Then you basically select the date that they did this. So if you don't know the date, you can pick today's date. You can pick the date that they were registered. You can pick the 1st of January if you want to make it obvious that it is not a real date. So you can just click through to find when you want it, and you just press on the day, and you press save. The key thing here is once you press save, you can't change it. And you can go through and, for instance, with milestones, you can say if they've completed a milestone, if it's in progress, or if it's not required. So if you've got a member that joins in, say, the last third of the section time, they could start straight at milestone 3 and they're not required for the first 2. You can then also set how many of the participates, assists, and leads they've done for each milestone. And then you press save. If they've completed it, it'll ask you for the date as well. And you go through and you can keep doing the same thing. It'll remind you if you're leaving without pressing save that you'll lose what you've done. The one thing I'll highlight that Victoria hasn't fully gone into yet is outdoor adventure skills, because this is important in terms of recording the progressions within a stage, within outdoor adventure skills, for the peak award. So in this, you can say when they did something. For instance, if they got their grey wolf, they've done stage 3 in bushcraft, and they will have done it in the cubs section. That way, the system's not going to count these first 3 stages as being completed in, say, the scout section or the venturer section. Once you have completed the data input for a member, you press submit all achievements, tick the 2 boxes and press submit. Once you've pressed that youth member can now log in and add in and create their own work within the achievement pathways. As I said before, there's no rush to get to this step. It is important that you need to do this at the time that is right for your group. So if your group is ready to do milestones, outdoor adventure skills, special interest areas, then go for it. If your group is not yet ready and you're still slowly working through, then you might need to wait until you are ready at that point. That might be in a month or 2, that might be next year. That's okay, there is no rush. You will also find in that list of members, you will find currently adult helpers and group rostered parents, committee support, things like that. You don't have to do anything with those members. You don't have to assign them to a unit or anything like that. At some point, there will be a feature where you can remove them. However, for something like an adult helper, if you wanted them to be able to go in and do some things with the program or anything like that, you could add them into a unit as an adult helper. Now, the next step is what the youth member sees. So when a youth member logs into Terrain, the first thing they will see is their base camp, which varies depending on which section they are in, but will look something like this. If they are looking at it on a mobile or a tablet, they will probably see just one of these boxes and arrows to click through, depending on the size of their screen. Youth members will also see over here, it'll say Achievement Pathways with a drop-down arrow to get into some detail that you also get by clicking these buttons. Any youth member can go and see past or future sections to see what requirements are available at those times. They can then also go back and see what they may have done in Joey's or Cubs or Scouts. This obviously will become a more useful feature as more and more Scouts have gone through the new program from the start. Yes. So things you can do, what youth members can do is they can go in and they can tick off their own requirements. We've already done that one. Sorry, let's go to one that's not been done. Introduction to section. So as a leader, you can go in and you can view the requirements. Youth members will have these boxes tickable. And once they've ticked them all and filled in the questions, they can press, there'll be a submit at the bottom. What is useful in this area, and you'll find this in most parts of Terrain, is that there's often a find more or a learn more button. And if you click on that, it will load a page or it will have a pop-up which will have more information about that part. So this covers parts of Introduction to the Scout section because that's what we're in. What I might do is I might change to a youth member's view so that we can see a bit more about it, so we can see what you can actually do. So for instance, an Introduction to Section, they can actually tick the boxes as they do it. And once they are done, they can submit for review. You can submit for review without having everything filled in case someone's like, oh, we've done that separately, just send it in. Also, you can see what they've submitted before it's approved. Within Achievement Pathways, there are also the other areas of the Achievement Pathways that they can cover. So for instance, for special interest areas, they can create projects. And once they've filled this in, they can submit it to Unit Council for approval to start the project. In Outdoor Adventure Skills, you can tick off stages as they're required. So say a Scout's done these things at an event, they can tick it off and they can add their verifier. So this is, with Outdoor Adventure Skills, they can be marked off by a Scout 2 stages above, or by the first 5 stages of the core can be by any leader that's done their adult training, or it could be someone else. And you can add in their details. So say it's Chad, who is my temporary user. And that way, when Unit Council, and then that applies it to those that I've selected. Once I've done everything in the stage, I can submit it to Unit Council. And Unit Council can then see who's verified each individual step. Milestones are covered through the programming tool, which we'll get to in a moment. But Scouts can go in here and they can see their progress in their milestones as they go. So for instance, this Scout has done 1 personal growth challenge participate. As I was talking about before, approvals. So Unit Council have to approve anything that is submitted before it is awarded to the Scout. So for instance, Jack Barker has completed Outdoor Adventure Skills, and it requires, and you can view what he's done. So you can see that it's been verified by various people, or in this case, I just put them all through so you can see the sample today. And then Unit Council can either approve it or ask for it to be improved. Now this requires 2 members of Unit Council to do either action for it to take effect. If they click approve, then that's what that is. Improve is basically going back to telling the Scout that they need to do more. So say for a project such as special interest areas, they have not given enough detail, or they've missed a page and they've submitted it anyway, you can say you need to improve it. And it pops up saying, we suggest you talk to the Scout as you do this, because, you know, tell them what they need to improve on. And then you can request improvement. However, it does take, as I said, 2 members of unit council to improve or approve before it will take effect. You can also see a history of who has approved, or badges that have been approved, and who has done it. So that gives you a bit of accountability within your unit council in regards to members that have done it. The next main thing in Terrain, apart from, is the programming page. Programming is a very powerful tool in Terrain. This is how you can create your unit's program. It is also how you mark off their milestones, the participates, the assists, and the leads. And there's a few cool things here. One is that every member in your unit will have a button that says propose idea. And when they click on this, all it does is ask them for a couple of bits of information, and they don't have to fill it all in. And then they can send it to unit council. So this is very useful when quite often scouts will come up with an amazing idea for an activity, but it's not the night when you're asking for programming ideas, or it might not be at the right time. They can go in and they can put their activity idea in here. So I'm just going to call it bike ride, riding a bike. It's fun. Who should organise it? Jack should organise it. Who's the other user we've got open at the moment? You can say what activity area does it belong to. So this one would be an outdoor challenge. It can only be one of these 4. It can't be multiple. It's whichever one fits it best. If you've got any files you want to upload, you can, and then you send it to unit council. And then you can see all of the proposed activities. You can see activities that have been finished. You can also read the review of the activity for next time on ways to improve it. And this is very useful because when unit council comes to do a programming night, they can come and say, yes, this is a great idea, and they can view what's been done. 1 second. And they can either remove it from the list if they don't like it, or they can click assign organizer and start putting into the system. If you haven't gone through a proposed idea and you've just pressed add program at the top, like add a new program, you also come to this same screen. Unit council can then adjust any information that has been submitted, or they can leave it as is. And then you go, and the next page is where you kind of tell it when and where and who. So it can be a whole group activity, it can be a unit activity, a patrol activity, or a project patrol. Now it will pick, so for the patrol, you can then select the patrol in your unit, and then it will then load those members in the unit so you can pick who's organising it. In a project patrol, you can select the participants from your group, and you can also add members from other groups throughout the country. So if you've got some members that are doing an activity and they've got someone from another group coming along, you can add them in by finding their branch and their membership number. And then when this program is finalized, it will be recorded on that member's record on their group as well to say that they've done this activity, so it counts for their achievement pathways as well. So you can say who it's going to, let's go back to do it as a patrol. Who will organise it? April can organise it. The location will be Park, and then you can set your dates. So this is going to be on Saturday. Well, not that we can really do this at the moment. At 1 p.m. until 2 p.m., 2:59. It's also on the same day, and then you can press next. And then you can review it and you add it to the calendar. And that is what you do to make an event on your calendar. So this is when you're doing your unit council plan for your whole term, you do this. And then if you are organising an activity, you can then go into it and add more detail. So what we will do is we will make a quick activity that is assigned to myself, and then I'll show you the next step. So it's the group. It's going to be Chad. It's tomorrow. It's also tomorrow. I always forget to do the date first. Location will be online. Next, add to calendar. And then I can go into it and complete the plan. So this is where whoever's running the night would go in and add the detail. And they can add as much or as little detail as they want. So for the younger sections, this is where you can add all your 5 little minute blocks, or 10 or 15-minute blocks of all your various activities. And you can assign individual leads and assists for these activities. So this activity is going to be led, in this case, by Angela. It's going to be assisted by Anna and Andrew. And you can add more in. So you can add as many as you want for your to make out your full program plan, or you don't have to if your whole activity is the main plan. You select the area of the Scout method, add any notes or anything else you want, and then you press next so you can review it, and you press complete. You can then go in and view it. Once the activity has passed, you can then go, you can mark attendance, and you can also review it. So for instance, this activity, which is from earlier today, which I made to be able to show you this, has passed. So once the activity is in, you can assign attendance, and you can tick who's turned up. You can tick them all and untick someone who's not turned up. And then you can save that. And then you can do your review. So this is quite useful in the fact that you can change who the assists and the leads are. So say that someone else turned up and really helped, say it was Kimberly really helped as well, you can add her in as another assist, or you can remove someone that wasn't there. And then it's a very quick sort of review. How was the activity? It was great. It was challenging. You can tick more, obviously. You also select what parts of the Scout method it was. How was it covered? I'm just going to put some words in. How has the unit grown? Just so that you can see that once you've filled in, you can press conclude. And once you've concluded it, everyone that we've said will be there who has attended will have a to participate marked off on their record. And if we had them down as an assist or a lead, they will get that marked off for their milestone as well. Other cool things that you can do with programming is when you have a program that you've made, if we go into it, there is a button. Sorry, not that one. That activity is done, so it's not going to do it for me. The one we've planned, sorry, let's let it load. The one that we have made, for instance, this bike ride, you can export out the activity. And what this does, it gives you a file you can download, and you can then share it with other groups or units or whoever, and they can import it with this import activity. They select the file, and what that does is that gives them the date, time, location, all the key events. It lets them add it to their calendar, and then they can choose who's leading it for their group or their unit, who's assisting, and have it in there and mark off their attendance. This is really good if you're running joint nights, district or region activities. As say a district leader could make the activity, export it out, send it to all of their units, and they can put it into their calendar with all the correct date, time, and program details, and add their youth members in that they need to. And that's the key bits of programming. And programming is probably one of the very more powerful tools in Scouts Terrain. It's very good, like you can make your entire program within it. Other aspects of terrain that you have, there is this thing called group life. Now, group life is where you can see how your group is going. So all leaders will see group life. Any member of a unit, any patrol leader or member of unit council within a section will see a unit life, which is just within their unit, which I'll show you in a second. And this is where you can see average attendance, how far through the milestones and things like that they are. Average attendance is over the last 6 months. So if we go into Vic Champions, which is the unit we're playing with, this is what they would see when they go in for unit life if they're PL. It shows you their name, their age, and it shows you their attendance, their current milestone, how far to the peak award they are, And you can see their progress in outdoor adventure skills and special interest areas, and if they've completed other things. So if we go down to a member, let's go all, who has done things, who I believe is Christopher Brown, you can see that he's had some attendance. You can see that if I go on milestone, actually, what's he got? He has done stage 2 bushcraft, and you can see there's others here that have done, this is special interest areas. You can see they've completed a project 1 out of 6, which is the requirement for the peak award. You can see that they've covered 1 of 3 areas, because they'll need 3 in the scout section to get their peak award, 3 different areas, and how many they've got in progress. So they haven't got any more in progress. And if you click on milestone, you can see, if I actually find someone that's done something for milestones, you can see that. I can't find any off the top of my head. But that will show you the progress if they've been marked off in a program. Now, and that's kind of what you can see as unit life. So every leader in the group can go and see how any unit in the group is going, which is also useful if you've got a member coming up from coming from Cubs to Scouts. The Scout leader could go in and see how far through the outdoor adventure skills the Cub has gone, or have they got their Great Wolf, things like that. If you are, the other feature here is there's a My Logbook. This is where you can record kilometers and nights camped by adding activities in. You can add a new record, and you can put in a whole lot of information about the activity, and it will record in your logbook kilometers and nights for you. Every member has access to a logbook. Now, if you're a leader with multiple roles, so be that you are in the Cub pack, the Cub unit and the Scout unit at a group, or you are in one group and helping at another, you will have access. If you're listed in that unit in terrain or in that group, you'll have access, and you can access your multiple roles up here. So this member is in multiple sections. So for instance, if we changed to they're in this Cub pack, it then shows that they're in the Cub section, and they will see the members in their group for that unit rather than the one they were in. If you are a leader not within a group, so say a district leader, a region leader, an activity leader, something like that, what you see in terrain is you will see in your base camp, you get access to programming and youth base camp, and also a logbook. So you can go that way. You can go into youth base camp and see what the requirements are for various levels in the achievement pathways. You can go into programming to make a program, export out programs, things like that. And then there's also the logbook feature, I guess, in case you're wanting to use that yourself. But the main thing about terrain is about sections managing their youth. It's not a tool for leaders of adults to view individual youth members within their section activities. It's for leaders of youth and youth members themselves. So that's kind of, other thing I'll cover is there is this support button here. When you go into it, there is a help button that you can take screenshots, add photos, and lodge a ticket. You can also, there are some videos and some help guides here, but the other useful thing that you can do is you can go to pr.scouts.com.au, and this will be full of all different resources about the new program, and there is an option here for terrain with guides and resources and also FAQs. So there are lots of step-by-step guides here for how to get started in terrain, how to input data, how to log into terrain. Like, there is a lot of different documents, and they keep adding more. There's also videos, and there's also information about updates to the system. Scouts Terrain does work in any web browser. It also works on mobile devices. It's not an app you can get from the App Store. It is a website. It's a responsive website, but you can save icon to your home screen on your phone, so it looks like an app that you click and it loads for you. there are some features that you can access offline. So if you've recently looked at something, it does store that information so that you can go in and view it offline, and then submit it through to the system once you are connected back to the internet again. Right, so I think that basically covers off all the features within Terrain. So now I think we might go to some questions. Louise, have you got some questions there from some of the people watching?
Yes, just a moment, I'll bring those up. Okay, so we asked, how do we move a scout from one section to the other? For example, from Cubs up to the scout unit.
Okay, so that's really simple in Terrain. What you do is, in the Members tab, you just go into Units, find the section you want to add them to, and add the member. So you go in, you add the member, and then once they've finished linking, you go into the section that they were in, so the Cub Pack or Joey Mob or whichever one it was, and once you're in there, you can press Remove. And then they won't be in the Cub section anymore. It doesn't remove any of their data, all the data is kept. So that way you can manage when they move yourself. It's not automated. It's not an automated process.
Lyndon Jackson has asked, if a scout is linking to Venturers, do you bother importing or inserting the data for their achievements or milestones for scouts?
So the only things that I would suggest importing would be, one is if they've got their peak award, you can, when you go to data import, there is an option there to change to a previous section and pick the, so if you go import data, you can go back to a previous section and you can select that they've done their peak award and a date, just so that it's there saying they did it. The only other thing I would suggest would be that, well, the only thing you need to do is the outdoor adventure skills. That's the only thing that carries across milestones and special interest areas, section specific. But when you're setting up the outdoor adventure skills, that's when you've got to make sure you mark off which section they completed a stage in, so it counts it correctly.
Okay. Marcus Ruckfayers asks, is the verifier notified that a scout has listed them? Can they reject this if the scout was falsely claiming to have completed something?
No, they don't. So the verifier is added so that if the unit council has a question thinking that the scout hasn't actually done it, they can then contact the verifier to confirm.
Okay, thank you. Elizabeth Cashin has asked, can you delete finished activities? I couldn't save attendees and eventually gave up and did the review without any attendees.
No, I don't think you can. That sounds like there was a glitch at the time that she was trying to do it with the attendees. I'm not sure when she did it, but it normally would let you save them. So, yeah.
Sharon Lee has asked, I assume there'll be a guide for use.
Yeah, if you go to the pr.scouts.com.au website and go to Scouts Terrain, there's a whole lot of step-by-step guides for all the different sections of terrain that you can look at, and there's also videos.
Thank you. Alana Major has asked, with converting over to terrain, would we use the scheme to pathway converter and fill everything into terrain?
Yeah, okay. So this is obviously very relevant for Victoria, where we have not fully moved over to the new program. You do need to convert from the award scheme to the achievement pathways, and you can use the scheme to pathway converter, which is on the pr.scouts website. And once you've done that, you would then import the data from where they are at in the achievement pathways into terrain. I wouldn't bother putting in previous section data, except for, as I said before, peak awards and outdoor adventure skills.
Thank you. Sarah Randall has asked, how do we move a scout from one section to the other? Example, from Cubs up to scout unit.
This is the same. We had this question just before. You go into the members and you add them to the new unit, and you then remove them from the old unit.
Okay, sorry, I'm just reading what's on the screen there.
Yeah, no, I think that's a double up.
Yeah. Chantal has asked, can you add links and documents to a night in programming?
Yes, there's a field to attach, and you can attach, Word docs, Excel, PDFs, photos, anything really, and you can include that. members can also upload those kind of things when they are making their program plans for special interest areas and outdoor adventure skills and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Michael has asked, does it give you a list of badges that need to be awarded?
Not at this point. You can see in the approvals tab what has been approved. I'm not sure if that is coming or not.
Thank you. Faye has asked, I write a Joey program, aside Tim to lead a 5 to 10 minute activity, but Tim is sick and James on the night leads instead. Can you change lead and assists after the event is scheduled to occur?
Yes, you can. When you do the review for it, it lets you edit who has done the leading and the assisting within the activity in case, just for this instance where someone's not there or someone else steps up anyway, you can add them in or remove them.
Thank you. Kim Bryan has asked, when is it required for a youth member to improve on their SIA plans? Would the coming chat feature be a way to communicate this to a youth member?
Yeah, you can. Basically, for when it's required for a youth member to improve, that's basically the unit council thinking it's not up to standard. And so then the unit council should talk to that youth member. How they do that is up to them. They can use the coming chat feature, or they can call them, talk to them on a night, message them, whatever they really feel is the best way to contact that member.
Thank you. Dan has asked, is there anything preventing a youth member earning badges in 2 sections while they're transitioning, i.e. a cub linking to scouts working towards their scout milestones?
No. So when you add if a member's linking, you've got them in both units. If they attend and participate in a scout section event, for your example there, then yes, it will count for their scout section that they've done a participate. And if they're still finishing off in cubs and they've done a lead, then yes, that would still count for their lead in the cub section.
Thank you. From the Nariwarren Scout Troop, how can you conclude activities in programming?
So once the activity is passed, it should come up with the option for you to press conclude. If you've got an issue with it, I don't know the exact what details you've got in your program to give you specifics in terms of date, time, and what you've actually done, but it should be available, and that's where you could use the help function in support to find out some more information.
Thank you. One has asked, if I have 2 roles and it only lists 1 role, how do I get the second role to be added?
Get the group leader of the group where your second role is to make sure you're added to that group, and then you'll be able to see it.
Thank you. Diane has asked, is it best to wait until we have fully converted to the new program before using terrain?
In terms of, mostly yes. So terrain is very good both in letting you understand what the requirements are for the new award scheme. But yes, when your group is ready to start using the new program fully, that is when I would suggest you use terrain. So that could, if your group is using it this term, then it's on the new program this term, then that is fine. If it is the start of next year when you're going to be doing the full new program, then that's when I would suggest you start using terrain. Mainly because with the data entry and how you do that, you don't want to do all of your data entry, then start using it 6 months later and have to try and get all that extra data put in somehow.
Thank you. Chill has asked, you mentioned not to hurry the OAS import. Can we import milestones first and then set up OAS history later?
So in a way you can. So it's what I'd suggest for this kind of thing is make sure you put in any that they've completed. Like if they've done their Grey Wolf and they're in Scouts, you know they've done stage 3 of the 3 core skills of outdoor adventure skills. Outdoor adventure skills you can bulk update for the first 5 stages. So that is easy enough to add in, but things like special interest areas and milestones you need to get in correct at the start if they've completed them to make sure it shows easily for the youth member.
Thank you. Bryn has asked, do you record weekly attendances and where?
Yeah, so that's once the program has once you make an activity in the programming area, once it has started, you can mark off attendance and you can save that. And then once you have concluded the review, it'll record those as participates, assists, or leads against the milestones, both for a weekly night or a camp or anything other activity that's programmed.
Diane has asked, can a leader moderate the chat between unit council and a cub? For example, helping cubs apply a reasonable adjustment for cubs with special needs.
I don't know. The chat feature's not yet launched, so I haven't seen it.
Steve has asked, can someone who's nearly finished one milestone be credited for stuff on in the next milestone?
I'm going to assume this is like if you've done all your participates and you need an assist or you need one participate, what happens? It will mark off basically into the next milestone if you've completed all your participates for one milestone, or mark off participate in the next one, or assists and leads the same way.
Thank you. Megan has asked, how does unit council work? Do we have to set up a special unit for them? How do they access the requests and badge work?
Okay, so all you have to do in the members tab is tick them as a member of unit council, and then they will see the approvals tab on the screen. So as a youth member, by default, they do not see they will not see approvals if they're not in unit council. When you tick unit council, they will see approvals here. They will also have access in programming to create events and things like that.
Megan has asked, do we have to add a new youth or is it uploaded automatically from branch?
When a member is added to extranet and their membership and their fees are all paid up, then they get added into Terrain, and then you can add them to the section that they're in and do it that way.
Okay, Aidan, that was the last question that we have time for tonight.
Oh, we've got one more, I think.
Oh, okay. We have import data for a youth member, just linked to Ventures, so we imported the OAS. Can we go back and add the peak award?
So when you do the data import, you need to do all of the data at once. With the peak award part, you can make a support ticket in Terrain to get a peak award added, as that is a newer section added in since data entry started. But if you're wanting to go and do their milestones, their special interest areas, things like that, you'll need to get their data reset and start from the start again.
Okay. So thank you so much, Aidan, for those quick fire answers to all those varied questions, and they were great questions too. I just want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. This will be recorded, so if you think that others might be interested or you want to see this again, you can join us tomorrow night here on Scout Quest. There's a Zoom presentation of the same thing, and you can ask your questions there as well at the end of our presentation. So right now we're going to leave you with a sneak peek of the Joey's 30th birthday this Saturday.
Hi there, it's me, Sam. I'm getting ready for the Joey Scouts 30-year anniversary. You know how I'm celebrating? By becoming a Joey Scout myself. But I need your help. Will you help me? I said, will you help me? You will? Great! Well, tune in this Saturday, October 10th, for a live stream of me in the bush trying to earn my first few Joey Scout badges. Help me out and tune in this Saturday. Hope to see you there. Fingers crossed. See you soon.